Hi, again, this is Sally Pelto-Wheeler, and I'm with the Eppley Institute for Parks and Public Lands, and I manage the National Playground Safety Maintenance Technician Program. Just wanted to thank the Community Associations Institute again for having Kelly and I here today on this webinar. So the remainder of the webinar, as Kelly said, we really want to focus on what playground inspection and maintenance resources are out there for you all to utilize. We want to really understand the importance of having a comprehensive inspection and a maintenance program in place, and finally kind of talk about what are the basics of hazard prevention on playgrounds. So what are some of those tools that you can start using? We'll start with the resources that are available to you all today. We have the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, or the CPSC, is charged with protecting the public from unreasonable risks of injury or death associated with the use of all types of consumer products. And luckily for us, playground equipment falls under their jurisdiction. They have a lot of safety guides and safety alerts related to playgrounds. And if you look in your resources and web links section on this webinar on the screen, you can click on these resources that I'm talking about and visit their websites to find out more information. There is, the one that I linked to is a playground safety checklist, and it's 10 of the most simple steps that you can take to help make your playground safer tomorrow. Digging a little bit deeper, the American Society for Testing and Materials, or the ASTM, has standards around playground equipment focusing on reducing life-threatening and debilitating injuries. And you can obtain certain documents. One that is particularly helpful would be the Standard Consumer Safety Performance Specification for playground equipment for public use. And that's available right on their website for $80, and it's an extremely valuable resource for you with your playgrounds. Another kind of amazing resource that we always talk about in our program is to utilize the equipment manufacturers and installers of your play equipment. All of your play equipment comes with manufacturer recommendations. Keep that documentation and keep their contact information handy so that you can always reach out to them with questions that you have as maintenance issues come up. Installers should really be a resource for you. You pay a lot of money for them to install equipment on your properties, and you should really pick their brain while they're there installing equipment or making repairs on your playground. So what is available in terms of playground training? There's really some great comprehensive programs out there available for playground caretakers and maintainers. The Playground Maintenance Technician Training, run by the Eppley Institute, for which I am the program coordinator, it's a 2-day program, and it's in person, that really focuses on the practical playground maintenance techniques, inspection principles, best practices in making repairs. It does not focus on kind of the memorizing of the standards, but rather the course explores the maintenance challenges associated with the common materials found on playgrounds. So things like, how do you take care of concrete, metal equipment, wood equipment, plastics, the different fasteners that are all over your play equipment. The program is made to be interactive with case studies and videos, and you really learn about the best practices and inspections, how to repair damaged equipment, and it has a basic module as well on the legal considerations around playground care. The second one I have listed there is the Certified Playground Safety Inspector, or the CPSI, and that's run through the National Recreation and Park Association. And it provides training on playground safety issues, So that includes hazard ID, equipment specifications, surfacing requirements, and some risk management methods. This program is very heavy on understanding and knowing the standards around creating your standard of care on your playground. With the CPSI, there are exam and recertification requirements, so that is something to consider. The third item here on the list is the Recreation Installation Specialist certification. And I wanted to mention this because what that is it's a great training to look for in your installers. If your installers have been certified in the RISC program, the RISC training, you know that they have some very specific training that helps them install your playgrounds correctly and to national standards and specifications. One thing I wanted to know, if there's any question about whether or not you should send, your folks, your employees to the playground maintenance technician program or the certified playground safety inspector program. There's really a little bit of overlap in the two programs, but both of them are very comprehensive in that the PMT focuses more on the maintaining side and the CPSI focuses on setting that standard of care. So if you're trying to decide what's right for you or right for your folks at your association, the PMT is for frontline staff, the ones that are on the playground every day, performing maintenance, repairs, cleanup around the playground. They're the people who are going to help you maintain the standard of care, whereas the CPSI are more for the people who perform audits and maybe some of those low-frequency inspections or the comprehensive type inspections that these folks are really kind of setting your standard of care. And the PMT can then maintain that. So that's kind of the difference between those two programs. Lastly, I wanted to just cover, there are individual trainings through manufacturers or some installers that they offer playground trainings. Usually they are a short training between 2 and 4 hours and maybe around a lunchtime. Maybe you can get out on the playground with them, ask them some questions. These trainings are typically very specific to the equipment that the manufacturers are selling. So that's just something to consider. The item that Kelly and I really want to drive home is what we want you to understand is that playground maintenance it's critical to the proper functioning and the life of your equipment. 40% of injuries on playgrounds are due to improper, inadequate, or lack of maintenance on the equipment itself. And in some states, it's actually the law to have your playgrounds inspected by certified playground safety inspectors. For instance, California, and Kelly might touch on that later, that you always want to make sure that you're referring to your CPSC guidelines, your ASTM standards, and your recommendations by your manufacturer of your equipment. The frontline staff that are out there on the playgrounds every day can be the difference of life and death or serious injury. So for the guy or gal who is mowing the lawn, who comes upon a jump rope, say, tied and hanging from a piece of equipment, the removal of that jump rope could save a kid's life. And it's really that simple, knowing what to look for, really looking at what are the hazards on the playgrounds. And I'll note more of these hazards later on in today's webinar. By establishing these practices, these inspection and maintenance practices, and following it to the best of your ability, your association is less apt to be liable. And I think that that's what we want to drive home today, that throughout these practices, you will be less liable if you follow those practices that you have put in place for your associations.
Sally, I was curious, in California, of course, we have a statute that is referenced in one of the materials that we've attached here under print resources in your screen for the attendees. One of the things that we have in this state is a requirement that play sets be inspected by a CPSI certified person.
Yeah.
Do we find those? Is there like a website with a roster? How does somebody find the right person to do these inspections?
Yeah, actually, they're through the National Recreation and Park Association. You can find inspectors in your state. So on the link in the resource section, the NRPA has that there, and you can search. I think they're all named by their name and their certification status. Yes.
Great.